Hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're all here today. Please let me know in the comments if you're hearing me and seeing me okay, because we're still new at this and I'm still nervous about it. So anyway, I'm glad you all are here today. We have a special guest. I'm very excited about this. Not only is Gina one of my close friends, but she is by far the best at doing lives. So to be able to do a live with her is definitely a treat. So I'm glad you're here for this. So let's go ahead and bring in Gina because we got a lot to share. We're going to answer questions. Mike, can you bring in Gina? Let's hope.
Hey, everybody.
Yay!
Hey, Jennifer.
Thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about today. It's always so much fun to craft with you, and to go live on your YouTube channel is just like hitting the jackpot, It's so much fun.
Well, I feel like this live is a good example of like a pro and a newbie. And I appreciate that you're here because this is hard.
You are you're a pro. Your lives are fantastic and everybody loves them, and oh, I forgot to get my water. That I'm going to make Tom get it in a little bit. Tom, could you do that for me at some point? Yeah, no, this is going to be so much fun today. When you and I were talking about what we were going to do, I can't think of a better topic to not only talk about and answer questions about, but to share tips and tricks, because you and I have been doing foiling forever.
Yes. Yes.
And I remember when I first came out with my line at Thermoweb, you were one of the very first people that I reached out to and said, hey, I got this thing, and what do you think? And oh, it's been so much fun.
It has been. I love the new things that you've been coming out with for foiling. So I thought this would be a good topic. We're not going to make like a completed card, but instead just show some tips for foiling using like a laminating or foiling system, and some techniques too. So we'll just kind of bounce back and forth. Does that sound good?
Yeah, it sounds great. And you never know what can happen. Maybe down the line, they'll turn into projects. You never know.
You never know.
You never know with me, right?
It's true. It's true. We might get that done. So if you have questions as we're going, please put question on it, and we're going to try our hardest to answer them. But you get going sometimes and it's hard to catch them all. So if you ask a question and we miss it, just ask it again and hopefully we'll catch it the second time. So the type of foiling we're talking about today is one that you do with a laminator or a laminating type foiling system. This is, like the old school way of doing really good foil. And I'm excited because, as I mentioned, Gina's got so many products that have made it even better lately. So I thought it'd be good to kind of just go over all of it and then talk about the new things that we're seeing. So we will be focusing on we're both demonstrating with Gina's new fuse machine, which sold out in goodness.
It's sold out really quickly. I'm looking for my Swiffer. I think I dropped it somewhere. That's something I want to talk about. But if I can't find it, I'll just use my shirt. It's not a big deal.
I have one here, so we can talk about it.
Okay, good. Then you can demo that. Okay.
So we're going to be using the fuse. It's out of stock right now, but she has more on order. So she's not sure when they're coming in.
No, that's one of the questions that I've been getting, because I had also said, if anybody has any questions, let me know. A couple people had PM'd me over on Instagram and said, when is the machine coming back? And can I still get the purple one and all of that? So I'm just going to say right off the bat, we did not expect to sell those machines out as quickly as we did. And we promised that we would bring another round of the same exact machine, the Amethyst machine, and we would do the same $32 gift pack. So they are being manufactured now. It can take anywhere from 60 to 90 days for the process to be complete and for them to get across the ocean to us. So, and then we're dealing a little bit with the holidays and always backups at the port and stuff. So we're hoping that we get them in before the end of the year. That's what we're praying for. So maybe if you guys get a gift certificate for Christmas or something like that, you'll be able to use it and treat yourself to something nice, but definitely by the early part of the year. I know we'll have them in January. So
good. Good.
Yeah.
So if you missed out, don't worry. And a lot of the things we're doing today, you definitely could do with a regular laminator. You will see some of the perks that the Fuse has, especially with one of my techniques. There's a perk that the Fuse has that my laminator doesn't. But try this. If you've got a laminator at home, you can definitely try all of these things with it. We used these products with a laminator before the Fuse came out. So, you know,
Yes, and for people who have a mink, if you have a mink, you've got a
yep.
great machine. You don't need to
Yes.
wait and then get a Fuse. Use the
Right.
mink. The mink is a stellar machine. They're very, very similar. And
Yes.
if you are using a regular laminator, the key is just to let that thing heat up for a good 20 to 30 minutes before you start, because it needs to be really super hot.
And the Fuse is pretty quick to heat up, so it doesn't take that long for the Fuse.
Oh no, it takes like
No.
2.5 minutes, I think.
But that's what this was meant to do. The stuff that we're doing,
Right.
the Fuse is meant to do that. So it you'll just see there are some perks with it, but do know that what we're showing today, try a good old laminator or a mink machine or whatever kind of laminating type foil system you may have. So
Yeah.
sound good?
And one more thing, Jennifer, one of the
Yep.
questions that I noticed is people are saying, are you going to come out with one that's compatible for the UK? We actually are having 4 different machines manufactured right now. We're having a US machine, a UK machine, an EU machine for Europe, and an Australian machine, so an AU. So we're going to have, we should be pretty well covered. And I think most countries would fall into one of those voltage and plug requirements. So
Yeah.
we got you covered.
Good, good. I'm glad. And is that's on order too already?
Oh yeah, everything is
Okay.
It all
So
went in at the
everything's
same
going to
time.
be coming.
Yes.
It's all
everything's
coming at
coming.
some point. At
Yes.
some point, right? Well,
Yes.
why don't do you want to switch to overhead and we can start doing things with the Fuse? Does that
Sure.
sound good? Doing some
Yeah,
foiling?
absolutely.
Let me
Absolutely.
switch us.
All right.
There we
So I have, let me back mine up a little bit here because I'm very close.
Oops, sorry. I'm still
That's
learning
okay.
this.
No problem.
Hold on.
So you could see that I have my screen a little darker than Jennifer's. We're testing it out. If it's too dark, let me know. And I'll tell you the reason why I have mine a little bit dark is because when it's really bright on my camera for some reason, when I turn the foil, you can't see the pattern. So I tested it with this card that I had made a while ago, and you see how you can see it light up really easily?
Look at
That's why my
that.
screen is just a little bit darker than it usually is. But if it's too hard to see, just tell me in the comments and I can always brighten up my screen, but you may not be able to see that foil. So, all right.
Looks great.
Thank you.
So I thought, do we want to just show do you want to talk about some Polyglaze? Because that's,
Sure.
I mean, I feel like this is what's bringing back this type of foiling and kind of giving it a new life lately. Do you want to talk about the Polyglaze? We can do some here and maybe tell us how it's different, things like
Sure.
that.
Absolutely. Well, Polyglaze is a product that we designed for foiling, and it is very similar in the way that it works to toner sheets. And the toner sheets, you may remember the toner sheets that I first came out with Thermoweb. They were like this. There were different designs, and they were done with black toner, like this. Now, a lot of companies still carry these and make these, and Thermoweb does, and they're amazing. They work great, especially if you have a mink or a Fuse. But the one thing that sometimes happens when you have just a regular laminator is if you don't get everything foiled perfectly, you will, when you turn it, see some of the little black spots. Now, that can be corrected by increasing the heat of your machine. When I say increasing, with a regular laminator, letting it warm up for a good 30 minutes or so. Maybe adding a shim, something like a piece of the Thermoweb parchment paper. Their carrier sheets have a silicone lining, and you can use that. It increases the heat. But Polyglaze was designed to not have to worry about any of that, because this is actually a design that is printed with a gray ink, and then it's coated with a Polyglaze material that will grab the foil the same way toner does. But because they are white or almost white, you don't see any black spotting ever. And that's
Yep.
kind of been a game changer for people who have struggled in the past, even if you're using a regular laminator.
Yep. Now, one other thing, I think I'm just going to show this real quick. If you're not
Sure.
into foiling, but you like the look of the Polyglaze, you can always just use it for a background. Let me get some ink here to show you. So,
Yeah, this is cool, Jennifer. I love this technique you're going to show. I watched you do it once before, and for people who haven't seen it yet, holy cow. Look!
so look at that. It's also will resist ink you put on top. So you can end up with these like white images with the colored background. So you could do a pretty ink blended background. I just wanted to show that real quick. So these they don't have to be foiled. You can also use them with some ink blending for resist. So that's
That is
fun
That's
thing.
one of my favorite tips that you showed. And I didn't even think about doing that. And when I saw you do that, I was like, again, that's why she's a genius.
No, I
But it's
think I
kind
messed up and that's what happened.
well, hey, hallelujah for those accidents, right?
Yes.
What I
yes.
love about that is, for those of you who might want to do that emboss resist look, but you're traveling or you're crafting with friends and you don't want to haul your white embossing powder and your heat tools and all that other stuff, you can do those kinds of techniques with Polyglaze sheets without even thinking about the foiling. Love it.
Yeah, somebody did ask. We will try to catch questions. We're just kind of giving the basics first. Somebody asked if you can foil this. Yes, I did a video where I actually did flocking with the fuse after I inked over this. But really, if you can also just foil this with like a gold foil, and then you can ink blend over it too. So I would probably ink blend over. If I do plan to foil, I would foil first, then ink blend over. But you can definitely ink blend over. I just demonstrated with Gina K ink. I think most dye inks would probably work for that. So
Yes,
that's
just
another thing you can do.
don't use a pigment ink or anything like that. Or some kind of permanent ink you don't want to use, because those kinds of inks, like alcohol ink, will actually attach to the Polyglaze. Because alcohol inks and stuff will work with any kind of surface, but dye inks will resist on anything that isn't porous.
Good. Okay. So, and yes, so you can foil before or after ink blending. Gina, somebody asked, will there be full sheets of Polyglaze available ever?
So, all right, Jennifer, shall we tell them a secret?
Well, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but somebody did ask that question.
I think we should tell them. I mean, that's one of the perks of watching Jennifer's lives is that you get a little insider information. But we got to swear you all 10 million of you that are here, we have to swear all of you to secrecy, okay? So
you can all thank Deb for asking this question.
Deb, we love you. And yes, we have coming out next Tuesday night, we have full Polyglaze sheets coming. So they will be full sheets of like a white Polyglaze that you can use the same way as you would use a full sheet of black toner paper, but you can get the white look. So that's very exciting. And that is coming on Tuesday night, but that's a secret only for you guys. So don't go out in my group or Jennifer's group and say, hey, guess what we found out? Right? that has to be the perk of watching live.
we will demonstrate doing some techniques with solid toner sheets. Those techniques you'll be able to do with Gina's when those Polyglaze solid sheets come out. The toner is black and Gina's will be white. So stay tuned for that. But you'll see us demonstrate with the black today. Just know that next week you could do that with the white, right?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it.
Very cool. So I'm going to just do foiling of this. We can just do an example of the foiling.
Sure.
Somebody did ask, what is the difference between your fancy foils, because yours is called fancy foil, and deco foil?
Okay, so our fancy foils are made by Thermoweb. They come in flat packs of 12 sheets that are 6 by 8. And I cut those 12 sheets in half, so I get 24 card fronts or 5 million little die cuts out of one pack of fancy foils. The deco foil comes in these tubes, and you get you get, let's see, boy, I don't know centimeters and stuff, Jennifer, you're the engineer, but this is like 6 by 12 and you get 5 sheets of these. So if you cut these down to the same size as these, you would get 15 card fronts out of this roll. You get 24 card fronts out of the fancy foils. As far as whether or not one works differently than the other, they do not. They work exactly the same, and the quality is exactly the same because my friends at Thermoweb make all of my foil. So it's the same high quality foil. It's a little thicker, has a little bit more sturdiness to it. So there is no difference other than how much you get in the pack.
And Decofoil does, I believe, have some packs the same that look like yours. So it's really the same type of foil. So
Yep.
I just like the colors that you offer and the specialty ones. Like this one is brilliant blue. It's like a shimmery. So it's not just shiny. It's got a sparkle. See that sparkle to it? So
that looks beautiful.
I don't know. I just seem to always reach for the fancy foils. But fancy foil and deco foil would both work well. This one is called Brilliant Blue. And look how perfect. I mean, it really is perfect.
It
how
is
that
really,
transfers.
really beautiful, Jennifer. And also in our store, we do have some of the Decofoil tubes at Gina K Designs. Some of their specialty ones, like their watercolor ones and their rainbow ones.
Rainbow, yeah.
Some of those. Yeah, we have those too. And they are all in our foil category. So you would be able to find those as well. We don't have all of them, but we have some of the specialty ones.
Well, I did put in the YouTube description a link to like a visual supply list, and it right at the top it'll say all foil. It'll take you to all the foiling products over at Gina K if you want to see any of this. But we got lots to show, right?
We do, and I don't want anybody to run over there yet because well, we've got like we've got a lot of people here, Jennifer. Do you want to talk about what's special today?
We can if you want to.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, you found your Swiffer. Yay.
I did. I found it. It was stuck to my shoe. Yeah.
Better than toilet
let's
paper,
go to my
right?
front shot too, Tom. Yeah, I think we should talk about something special that we have just for Jennifer's viewers today. So
thank you, Gina. This is really awesome. Okay, so I talked to Gina. We've been planning to do this live together for a long time, and I back out a lot because I get nervous. But when I thought we could just demonstrate some foiling techniques, Gina suggested that we give a special discount code to everybody who's watching. So I will have Mike put it on the screen at some point and maybe add it in the chat comments and then in the description below. He's looking at me like, what?
Yeah.
But if you use the code Jennifer15, that will give you 15% off all Polyglaze, foil, and foiling accessories through Friday at midnight over at Gina's website. Yeah. So I put that in the chat. I will add that to the video description so you can get to it. And then in the video description, you'll see it says visual supply list. If you click that, you'll see all the different products that we're talking about.
Yeah, and I don't know if Mike can do it, but if he's also watching live, like on a computer somewhere, he could pin your link too on YouTube. So it'll be the first thing at the top. Be easy to find.
Gina's so smart. This is how we've got her, right? This is what I told you. She's the pro. I'm just pretending here.
You are not. All right. So should we just go through the quick step of how to foil?
Yes. Why don't you do that, and I'll add some information for them. So we'll switch there. You can switch to overhead if you want to.
Okay. So here I have my piece of Polyglaze, and I'm going to use a Swiffer duster. Now, I highly recommend getting some sort of dusting cloth. I really like the Swiffers because they both work with static and with dust. It's kind of how they work. Rather than just kind of pushing dust around, it actually grabs it away from the product. And use that across your entire piece of Polyglaze. And the reason you want to do that is because we're all using embossing powders. I don't know if you're like me, but I never dust. And so if you have dust anywhere and you have it on either your Polyglaze, your toner sheets, or your foil, anywhere that that's trapped in between, that's going to block the foil from fusing to the Polyglaze. So we want to make sure that we do that first. Now I have my carrier sheet here. So here's my carrier sheet. I have heated my fuse up to level 3. And I think level 3 is great heat level for Polyglaze. Some people like level 4. And I've had some people say, you know, I have a mink. Everybody says level 3. Mine runs a little hot. Level 2 works best. So when you first get a machine, start at level 3. If it's not looking like you want, try it up to 4. If it's still not looking like you want it to look, go down to level 2. And you don't have to waste whole sheets. Just cut a little strip and see how it works for you. And just sacrifice one strip to find the perfect setting for your machine. But 3 should do it. And then after you've dusted your Polyglaze, you also want to dust the back of your foil. Now this is deceptive because I decided to use sterling and it's silver on both sides, but you could see it's shiny on this side and a little more dull on this side. So we're going to just wipe the back here with the duster one more time over the Polyglaze, just in case a hair fell out of my head while I was talking. And then
mine would be a dog hair, dust, or my hair. You never know what you're going to get.
You want to get that all away. Yep. And then this is the carrier sheet that comes with the fuse. This carrier sheet also comes with a mink. You can also use Thermoweb's carrier sheets. You will have to cut them down. But the key is to put your stuff in the middle here, and you always want to feed it through with the folded edge first so that it doesn't get caught up in the rollers. It's easy if you put it in the wrong way with all these things flapping that it'll get caught up in the rollers, and then it's very, very hard to get it out. So I'm going to feed this through the machine, and you can see that as long as my Polyglaze is completely covered, it doesn't matter if a little bit of the white cardstock on the edges is showing. That doesn't matter. One thing that is important if you're using something bigger than the piece of foil, you want to make sure that it's completely covered with foil, because if not, whatever you're using, Polyglaze or toner, is going to melt and it's going to get onto your carrier sheet and it's going to be very difficult to get off. So you just want to make sure that it's completely covered.
And you'll see that in mine.
Okay. Yay, we have a demo.
I used toner, some toner prints, and then didn't cover it completely with foil. So there's little toner marks on my carrier sheet. It keeps working, but somebody asked about using like folded printer paper or parchment paper.
So here's the thing. You want to make sure that you use the thinnest paper that you possibly can so that you don't prevent heat from getting onto the project. So if you have like a 24-pound copy paper, that might be a little thick. You want to go down to like a 20-pound, just the lightest that you could possibly get. Parchment paper, not the kitchen kind, but the kind that Thermoweb used to sell, which is almost like typing paper, it's so thin, will work. However, the reason why Thermoweb changed from parchment paper to their new silicone lined parchment paper is because parchment paper and copy paper do not conduct heat well, but the silicone does. So you're going to get more heat on your project that way. So you can use it in an emergency, but if you want the best results, I recommend picking up their carrier sheets if you don't have a regular
I just
one.
ordered because you sell these carrier sheets separate. I'm always afraid I'm going to throw them away, but thinking it's packaging or something. So I just ordered a whole set of these. I ordered an extra set right away so that I would have those. Because it comes with the machine, but
it does. And we're sold out of them, but if you can find them, like for the mink, they work. So, you know, just get what you can now. I always stock up on them too whenever I can. Okay, so you do want to make sure that you let it cool for just a second, because remember that Polyglaze melted and you don't want to pull it off too quickly. But here we go, the peel and reveal. Look at that.
And it is,
now, this is the
flawless.
sterling.
Flawless.
Yep. Can you see that?
It's amazing. This is your turquoise sea.
Oh, that's beautiful. Jennifer, that's your color. That's our
Yeah,
color.
and somebody
Okay.
asked why I got a little bit of wrinkling. Can you see there's a tiny bit? That
Yep.
is because of the dot pattern. There was
Yes.
some kind of spacing. It doesn't, that's not because it was too hot or anything. You'll notice like this one that didn't have a little tiny pattern. There's no wrinkling there.
Right.
So it's
Mine
no problem.
too. I have no wrinkles either. Now, one thing I do want to say is if you consistently get bad wrinkling where it's preventing your foil from making contact with the toner or
Okay.
the polyglaze, it could be number one, your heat setting is too high. So you could take it
Okay.
down.
Okay.
Or foil actually has a grain and it's very hard to see. I don't really try to see it anymore. I just look, and if it's getting terrible wrinkles, I turn it. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. The grain on this foil is going in this direction.
Okay.
And that's the direction that I fed it into the machine.
Okay.
Now, if I turn it this way, sideways, and put it into the machine, I'm more likely to get wrinkles because the lines of the foil, the grain of the foils are going this way, and I'd be going against the grain, and that makes
Okay.
it bunch up a little bit. So that's
Gotcha.
another thing that you can try if you're getting too many wrinkles. Wrinkles like Jennifer got, she's exactly right.
Yeah,
That's just
it's no
because of the
problem.
pattern. It didn't hurt her pattern, but if it's hurting
Yes,
your
it's still
pattern, try
beautiful.
turning it. So you saw I put mine in this way, but if I
Okay.
had gotten wrinkles, I would try sending it through this way next time.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. But
Yeah.
I've never paid attention, honestly, and I've never had problems. So you really
Yeah,
should
it's
be
not
okay.
common. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not common, but I know that it can happen. It can happen.
Okay.
Okay, so Karen said, can the negative foil be used?
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that? Now, what we just did, you could also do with those pre-printed toner sheets where the printing is black. You could do the same thing in the same way. And if you printed something on a laser printer, you can do that too. But these Polyglaze are great because say there was a spot that didn't foil well, you see the white instead of black showing through. And you can also use your Polyglaze for a cool resist too. So it's just it's a nice change. But we can talk about toner stuff now, I guess, right?
Sure,
Because
why
we're going to
not?
use the negative.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
one thing you've shown in a video before is you just glued it onto white, right? We're using
Yes.
the negative.
Yep.
You've glued it down.
Yep.
What
I
are some
have.
ways that you like to glue that down?
Well, one thing that I like to do when I'm gluing it down is I'll take a piece of white cardstock and I will take a small little bit of tape runner. I'm going to do that
Okay.
now. I take a small little piece of tape runner. You know, I probably should use a bigger piece of cardstock. Let me use this ivory piece of cardstock here because that'll give a similar look.
Oh, that's pretty.
Okay, so I will take a little bit of tape runner and I put it like right along the top of my piece of cardstock. And then, you know, I've been working without my glasses on and I've been sitting here going, why is everything so blurry? That's pretty bad. And then I will just tape, I don't know what's wrong with me, Jennifer. Well, I know what's wrong with me.
Oh,
So then I
honey.
will tape that across. Now you can see the little dots from the tape runner in there. Can you see that?
Sure.
I'm trying to, okay. But then I will put a little bit of tape runner down here and then I will push like really nice and
Oh, nice. Yeah.
flat, right? And just kind of go all the way down. You could use a credit card for this if you want. You know, that's something good to use for your credit cards that don't have any money left on them.
After we buy all the Polyglaze, right?
Right. And then you've got a nice white look there. And then what I do with something like this is I'll make like a frame to go over it, or I'll use one of the, let me find one here. I will, you know, maybe use a cover plate like this to go over
Nice.
it. And
Yeah.
then, you know, you get the
it
foil
shows
showing
through.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can just trim around as long as you leave that little bit of sticky stuff at the top or at the bottom. So that's one way that you can do it. It looks really good with very, very, you know, open cover plates on top, something like a basket weave or something.
I've been wanting to do in a video, and maybe I should do that sometime, is to create a window on the front of the card, and like your negative space would be kind of the window. So you can
Yes.
see through it and it's
Yep.
shiny. There are several different ways that you can use the leftover. I was going to demonstrate with the toner sheets. You want to do that too?
Sure. I do want to show one thing though. If
Please
you
do.
use the Gina K Designs dot runner, you see how
Yes.
I pulled it back off?
Yep.
It leaves a pattern of dots. So you could create like a little border going across your paper
Nice.
too, like that. So if you're looking
Nice,
for just a
yes.
little texture, maybe you need a little strip going across to divide two areas, you could just use a plain piece of foil and do that and get a little decorative edge. Okay.
Very good. Yeah, there's a lot of ways. You can put it on double-sided tape and pull off. So many different ways you can use the leftover foil.
Absolutely.
So
you can
what
also, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go on. Go on.
I was
go on.
just going to say you can also use a very, very thin film of Connect glue.
Okay. Yeah, you showed that in a live once, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And I think that that's cool, but you don't want to use too much because you'll see all the glue. You have to just like super, super thin on that.
Yeah. Well, what I have here is from Deco Foil from Thermoweb. These are called toner sheets. And what it is paper that's been printed. See, one side's white. The other side has toner on it. Toner is generally black, right?
Yeah.
And any foil will stick to this. So if I took a big piece of this, put a piece of foil on it, put it in my carrier sheet and ran it through, you'd end up with a big solid foiled spot, a piece of paper. So because the foil will stick to wherever there's black. So something you can do with this is to put your negative space foil onto that toner sheet. But here's the thing. Can you see my black on my carrier sheet? Make sure that your foil covers your toner sheet. Don't do as I did. But see how I'm laying the negative of the foil, which normally you would throw away. I'm placing that onto the toner sheet. Now, I found, Gina, when I did this, it helped me if I went up to 4. So I'm going to bump mine up to 4. I don't know that you need to, but
well, I'll try mine on 3.
Go for
and
it.
You do yours on 4, and we'll see how the fuse works here.
And I'm hoping I did get some wrinkles on this, but I'm hoping it'll still work. Maybe I'll use this one. This one's too pretty. I'm using this one. Look at that.
Okay. So I'm going to use my snowflake. I actually cut that down a little bit, and I put the piece of toner paper underneath. I did use my Swiffer again, because once again, it wouldn't surprise me in this room with the amount of dust that just taking it out of the package, it probably got some dust on it.
Somebody asked about, oh, yes, you can use double-sided adhesive sheet to use the leftover foil too. You can definitely do that.
Yeah, that's really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that works great.
So what we're doing is when we run this through, all of that extra foil will stick to that black.
Yes, it will.
And it will give you use for your extra foil. Just another way to use it. So now we just wait for it to go through. Let's see. Could you use, yep. Yes, you can use double-sided adhesive. You could do a shaker window. Yeah, you could lay that over acetate and do a shaker window. Lots of things you can do here.
Yeah, and then what we peel off from here, you could use that leftover as a shaker window too, because there's going to be nothing left. I do want it to cool because, again, toner, it turns liquidy under there when it goes through. So we do want to let it cool a little bit. I'm a little impatient. Sometimes I pull it off too early.
I always am. So yes, this will leave black showing through, which gives a cool look. But when Gina, she dropped that hint that she's coming out with white Polyglaze sheets. So you could do this again instead with the white, put the negative on it, and white will be showing through. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yes. I'm very excited about that.
I'm peeling off. Look at this. Look at that.
Oh,
isn't that cool?
Single bit. Beautiful. All right, I'm pulling mine off now.
So this is with the negative. Look at that.
Look, nothing left here.
Nothing left. Look at that.
Yep. There we go.
All right. Now, I did something else with this. Let me see if... I did this earlier. Let's check out if it works. I took another piece of foil.
Oh, wow.
And did it again. You can keep going. It's like the everlasting gobstopper.
I'm going to die cut mine while you do that.
See how the black, there's still black showing? That is toner. And so it's exposed, which is fine. You can use it on a card like this, or you can take another piece of foil, put it on top, and then run it through again. And hopefully it'll stick. This is what I turned it up to 4 before, not just
Yeah, I
regular.
definitely think I never do that dark enough. I'm just going to cut a word out of here
Nice.
because I want to see what it looks like. All right, I'm cutting the word love. This is our love die. And I'm just cutting it out here of this. Now, of course, you can do this with just plain foil. So if you want foil cardstock and you don't have foil cardstock, you can make your own just by taking that plain piece of toner paper, covering the whole thing with foil, and then you can do all kinds of die cuts, Christmas trees, word dies, whatever you want, snowflakes. But I'm
Do
cutting
you
this
recommend die cutting toner sheets before or after you foil if you want a solid die cut?
Okay, so look at that, Jen.
Oh
Isn't that
gosh.
cute? Aren't they fun?
That's amazing. And you've got the negative space of those letters too.
That's right. We could go right over some white with that and just pop the center in there, and then we'd have that too.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, that's so fun. So the question was, do you foil first or die cut first? I
Yeah.
always recommend foiling first. And the reason is because when you run a die cut through your machine, and you guys probably all know this, it kind of bends the edges over a little bit. And sometimes even if there's like a little dent in the die cut itself to like create veins of leaves, the foil will never get down in there. So foil the piece first and then cut it out. It will not hurt. You can see how beautiful and shiny these are.
And look at this.
Oh, Jennifer, that's gorgeous. Double
look at that.
foiling master. Look at that.
So there's the brilliant blue sparkle, and then
gorgeous.
the silver. And this all started with a leftover piece, but now look at this. We have another. So
Now
you
you
can
have
just
another one. So
keep going. It's
oh my gosh,
it's the
it's like a
everlasting
mirror
gobstopper.
it's like a mirror facing a mirror. I love it. I love it.
But I love you could crank out a bunch of these with the snowflakes for a bunch of holiday cards.
Definitely.
And they would just, you'd have some that would be blue with silver, some silver with blue, and you can just keep going.
That's really great. I love seeing that. That negative thing is just so much fun. And so here's what Jen was saying, that you could use this too. You would just pop that in there, and then you could have either one. Now these aren't stuck down, so I'm going to tread lightly here, but you can see you have the snowflake design in there. And maybe you don't want a snowflake design and you want something different. We've got all kinds of different Polyglaze designs. And I do feel like that double foil technique that you just showed works best with Polyglaze, because if it misses anything, you can't see it.
Yeah, I agree. And this really, gosh, so pretty. Somebody asked what the white is on mine. I accidentally got a little white embossing powder on the outside of my carrier when I sent it through. So it's just working itself out. You know, those are the things I edit out of videos.
Hey, right? That's the beauty of live. You get to see all the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. So let me see. I also wanted to mention, I think this is brilliant. And I'm mentioning it because I'm hoping Gina will come out with more.
Okay.
She's got these Polyglaze in these words, and this lines up with the word dies she has. So you can foil this and then use the shadow die that's in the word die set to cut it out, which I think is just great. And she's got a few of those options too.
And that gives you a lot more options then, because if you want to just do the word in shadow, you could do embossing powder, you can do, pattern paper, anything you want. But if you want that sparkling foil, I actually did the negative of one of those. Jennifer, check this out. I did the negative.
Look at that.
I did a whole sheet of thanks, and then I cut out the negative. I did it on toner paper and then cut out the negative so the outline is in foil instead.
Gotcha.
Isn't that fun?
There you go.
And that's with the toner paper.
Somebody said that you're sold out of the brilliant blue foil. I bet Thermoweb also has it too, because they carry Gina's. They work together, so they carry a lot of the same foiling
Yeah, they do.
products.
They have my whole line
Yeah.
too. So, and maybe Jennifer, you could throw up your link for that.
I will do that in a moment. What are you going to show next?
Well, I did want to show what the white Polyglaze sheets would look like. I don't have any here, but I want to show you what they would look like if you use the negative. So I'm going to just zoom in myself a little bit here. So this is a Polyglaze set called Autumn Leaves. And I want to find those. And not Autumn Leaves. It's called Skeleton Leaves. And this is what they look like here. This is the skeleton leaves. I know that's
Oh,
very
I love
big.
it.
If somebody's watching on a big screen, that's 4,000 feet wide. So these are not the actual size. I do want to say that because some people have purchased this collection here, the words, and then they held the die up to it and they called customer service and said the die doesn't fit. The picture on the front is we shrunk it down a little bit. So you actually have to pull Polyglaze out to see the actual size. Can you see here that they're a little bigger?
Good
Yeah.
thing to mention that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have a die set called Skeleton Leaves that coordinates with our Skeleton Leaves stamp set and also coordinates with the Polyglaze. So I
Nice.
polyglazed these leaves in gold, and then I did the negative piece with toner paper, and I cut out the negative, and look at that. Can you see that? The little veins
Oh, that's
in black?
beautiful.
But look at what it looks like in white. It's so pretty in white. Look at that. Isn't
Wonderful.
that pretty? Now, I do have a video on
That
how I did
detail's
this
great.
without the white Polyglaze sheets, but, you know, had to do a lot of glue and stuff like that. You won't
Yep.
have to do that when the white Polyglaze
Yeah.
debut next Tuesday. You'll just be able to slap the sheet on just like Jennifer showed you with the toner sheet, and you'll get that white negative. Love that. So I wanted to show
Wonderful.
that for sure.
Wonderful. And I added to that link list the Brilliant Blue if you're looking for it. All you have to do is refresh that page, but I will add it in the comments again. So,
Awesome.
because that
Well, I did
Brilliant Blue
want
is beautiful.
I did want to show if anybody hadn't watched my videos, because I know you have a lot of viewers that watch you, maybe don't watch me, and I want to show them a couple cards that I made. This was a card that I had made using, this is one of my favorite Polyglaze sheets. I say stock up on this one because it is one of my favorites. It's called Flurries. And it doesn't look like much in the package. It's really tiny little dots and stars, which can be used for anything. It can be used for birthdays. It can be used for absolutely anything. But it's so pretty behind stencils or layering stencils. Look at that little bit of shimmer you get. It just lights up. Isn't that pretty? And it's also
You can do
a
that
great,
behind anything.
right? Like even
You
little
can stamp on it. Yep.
Yep. You can stamp on it. You can ink blend over it. Like if you have critters and you want them to be out in the snow, this can be your background of snow falling. There's so many ways to use that, but I just used our Stellar Snowflake stencil and one of our sentiment strips, which by the way are also foilable. You can foil
Yep.
any of our sentiment strips because they're printed with black toner, and we have the white ones and the black ones. But I thought that was just so delicate. So this is one of the packs that if you're thinking at all about getting any Polyglaze, throw this one in. Online, it might not look like much and you might think, ugh, but when you add it to just about anything, it's so pretty and delicate.
And the
And then
nice thing
one-
about that one in the dot is that it's subtle. You know, if you don't want a ton of foil, you can use either the one there, what is it called, Flurries, or
Flurries, yeah.
the dot one,
Yes, definitely.
because those are subtle.
Yeah,
they're
I
beautiful.
love that. Just that little bit of something. It's kind of like you don't even really notice it, and then you hit it sideways, and it's just such a flash of beauty. Yeah, the dot one is great too for that. I love
Yeah.
that dot one, Jennifer.
This is probably what I use the most. I really like that one.
Love it too. And I want to show one more card that I had made in just a little reel that I did. I didn't make this into a full video, but I wanted to show how you can mix the your Polyglaze sheets with your negative Polyglaze sheets all in one card, and then also use just some plain foiled toner sheet to create a full project, and everything looks like it coordinates together. Like if you were buying foiled pattern paper that's actually very expensive, you might get a white one with silver foil, and then you might get a silver foil with some black. You can combine these together. So I did this with gold, and
Nice.
I used our berries and vines, and I actually used that negative piece to create a border for back here. I used the positive piece for this. I used the thanks that was the positive to that negative one that I had showed you earlier. And then here I just foiled a piece of toner paper with our 14 karat foil, and I just cut it out with our autumn leaves dies, and just a
Oh,
simple die
wonderful.
cut like that. So you could see how you could use all of those pieces together to create a card that looks like it's got a lot of different elements. And all of this was done with just one sheet of foil. So that's really
Man.
stretching your money when it
Yep.
comes to foiling.
Yep. And it all foils so easily. I know some people are afraid to foil because, sometimes different foiling things can be tricky, but these newer products have made it a lot easier. I think it's very foolproof, if you
Yeah,
get the right products in your hands, definitely can do a lot of great techniques with them.
I agree. And I think that's the thing. If you tried foil before and it didn't work out really well for you,
Yep.
don't give up now. Don't say that it doesn't work. Just try it one more time with Polyglaze, and I guarantee you that you'll have a little bit of a different feeling. So what are you
One
gonna do?
Well, I've got somebody asked if I can show foiling over an ink blended panel. I can foil this in just a moment, but first I wanted to show you another technique if you want to maybe have two foils on one background. So I thought I'd show you. This is a little trick that I did. I've got a Gina K master layout set. Do you know which one this is, Gina?
That looks like 8. That's our 5x7 one. So that looks like master layout
That
8,
is. Yep.
which is right here. That's this here.
There you go. So I just wanted the circle die from it. Just, you could do pretty much any shape. I just wanted a die that didn't have faux stitching. And I'm going to make it so there is like a circle of a different color foil with foil all around it. A different color, so two-tone. So what I thought I'd do is I've just got a circle die, whatever shape, and I'm laying it onto a piece of your turquoise sea foil. The reason I'm putting it in a piece of folded printer paper is the paper behind the foil will help the die push through the foil, and this side will prevent any kind of marks from the die cut machine from messing up my foil. So I don't know that you have to necessarily do this.
I think
but
it's smart.
I figure what the heck. So I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. You should be able to use any die cut machine for that. And I think I'm going to do the snowflakes because I loved your snowflakes.
Okay. Now, while you do that, I'm going to actually foil one of these flurries pieces with some 14 karat, and then I just want to show you how you can ink blend on top and how
Perfect.
it doesn't hurt the foil at all.
Wonderful.
So.
Somebody asked about, I'm sorry I missed where you said you can get the products. If you look at the pinned comment in the chat, there's the code to get 15% off the foiling Polyglaze and such over at Gina K Design. So you can definitely check that out. I'll put it in the comments again, or in the chat there again.
Definitely use Jennifer's link for that discount.
It's also in the description. You might have to refresh, but it's there. So I just die cut a piece of foil here. Okay, so now I have a foil circle. So this is the same thing. This is just a sheet of it that I cut, and this I die cut. And I thought it'd be neat if, now see, I need my carrier sheet. There we go. If I've got the Polyglaze snowflake here. I'm gonna take this circle, I'm gonna put it at the top center, I think, like that. So that's the blue, and then on top of that, I'm putting silver to cover up the rest.
Amazing.
So there's
this is gonna
the
be
Polyglaze, then the circle of foil, and then a solid foil, and run that through. And that will give us a two-tone foil piece. Can you use flock transfer sheets with the fuse? Yes. I did a video, which I will end up linking below a little bit later, but I did a video where I used flock transfer sheets with Polyglaze, and it was beautiful. In fact, I ink blended over the Polyglaze, and then with a dark color, then I did a light color of flock on top, and it was just beautiful. I can demonstrate that here in a moment too.
That was amazing.
The 15% is only at Gina K. I linked a few things to Thermoweb below because some things had sold out. But the 15% is at Gina K only.
Yeah, and somebody had said that they forgot to use their discount code, and you can call customer service, and what they can't apply the code because our website doesn't work that way, but they could cancel the order, and then you could go back and place it again if you want. So that's an option, although I don't know what has sold out, if anything, but that is an option.
So this is, look at that. We have the silver, right?
Oh,
and
gorgeous.
then we're going to peel off. Let me get I got a hook under it. It's smushed on there, but it'll come off here.
Wow. I'm just like, I'm not peeling because I'm just watching.
So
look
now,
at
see how you have the circle of the blue, of the turquoise sea, and then the silver around it. And look at our negative pieces. So now you could foil this for a background, and it would be solid silver there in the center.
Oh, that's amazing.
Or you could glue it on something, and you've got this that you can use with the toner sheet too. So
Jennifer,
you can do
make that
two-tone
a Christmas
this way.
ball. That has to be a Christmas ball.
Oh, wouldn't that be beautiful?
That would be gorgeous.
These colors are great.
And if you do that, Jennifer, while they're shopping, look at what they can use. They could use this set as a topper. This is the holiday toppers, and they could use that with black toner. They could just cut it. Oh my gosh, that is brilliant. That's beautiful. I can't believe you just did that. That's stunning. Oh, look at it on white. Oh, wait till the white Polyglaze comes out.
Yes,
look at that on white. Oh gosh, we're gonna have to do this whole weekend.
Well, I think we should. We can feature the white Polyglaze and even more techniques.
That would be so fun. Okay, so you can see here that we have the gold flurries on here. It's just such a pretty background, just like that, right? You could see that just as like, just a beautiful starry night even, right? It doesn't have to be snow. But then if you pop that right onto, I'm going to just put a little tape right on the back of that, and you just pop that stencil right on top. I just want to show you how it doesn't damage the foil at all. So I'm going to just quick ink blend a little bit of innocent pink on this because I think the pink and the gold together will be stunning.
I think I'll do some ink blending also.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and, if I can find where'd I put it? Why do things run away when we craft?
Well, it doesn't. It runs away when you're live.
Okay. Mike just goes, is it that? And he pointed to it, and it was next to me.
Oh my gosh. Mike.
So if you remember, I have this.
So crafty Mike.
It's kind of hard to tell here, but the in the light or in the camera, but there's a center here of turquoise sea that I did with that trick I just showed you. I'm going to now use the same circle as a mask here. This is just printer paper. And now I can ink blend over this. But I need to get my turquoise sea ink.
I'm looking for another thing I want to show, but I don't know where that is. So I'm going to wait a minute. Okay, so let me ink blend this now. I'm just going right over this. I'm not worrying at all about the foil because the foil it's down. It's
down.
Permanent. Yep.
Yes.
It is permanent. But
So
this
there,
is
I did
such
just
an
a
easy
little
card
ink
to
blending.
make.
Look at that.
Oh, yes.
To make the turquoise foil stand out more.
Oh, that's so pretty. Yeah, and you could put anything over that. You could put little critters. You could put any die cut pieces that you want. You could put a greeting right over that, and it just creates that beautiful focal image, Jennifer. That's brilliant.
Okay, so somebody asked why mine's set to 4. I changed mine to 4 when I was doing some of those techniques where we were doing things on top of each other. I just felt that gives a little pressure, and I'm just leaving it at 4. 3 or 4 is fine. Usually I just grab it and do 3.
Yep. And I always say just, test it and see which setting works best for you. think I'm going to add one more color onto this, like maybe just, oh, my microphone won't go that far. Let's see. I'm going to use a tiny, tiny little bit of faded brick. I know it seems like a weird color to use here, but I'm just going to darken it up a little bit in the center. Just a little.
Some requests, Gina, for bigger pieces of Polyglaze.
You know, that is actually being worked on. So
good.
Yeah, I know people want that, especially our friends that do the 5x7s.
Yes, yes. I did add, if you refresh the link that I have in the comments, I did add that ornament topper set. Somebody asked about that.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so I'm just wiping this down here to make sure that there's no ink that's pooling on top. And then check it out. You can see
beautiful,
all that beautiful gold in there. And that's just the gold and innocent pink and faded brick. I know this is a little non-traditional as far as the colors go, but I don't know. There's something about that pink and gold for the holidays that I think is beautiful.
For sure. Gosh, that's beautiful.
So
pretty and very simple, you know?
This is the Flurries background.
And there's several sheets in a pack, 10? So you could make 10 cards. You know, you run the Polyglaze through to add the foil, and while it's going through, you ink blend or you stencil on the last one, and then keep swapping, and you could just crank through them all.
Yep, and for such a little, what I love about the Polyglaze and the toner sheet idea is, you know, for the price, they're not very expensive. You get 10 cards plus the negatives. So you get 20 cards out of one pack.
Yep.
And you're not stuck then with a design that you're kind of sick of. You can just move on to a whole new design. And if you like a design, you can stock up on that one. But if you want to try a design, trying a design is very cost effective because the pack of Polyglaze is so inexpensive. Yeah, you could definitely crank out 20 Christmas cards in no time flat, right?
Now, I know we're showing lots of ideas here, lots of them, but please know that this replay will be available. So if you want to go back and kind of take notes of the process of what we're doing, you definitely can do that. And, you know, I can add later a link to video where I've done some of these things and some of Gina's videos too, so you can get some more ideas. Some people asked about the flock transfer sheets. That's also from Thermoweb, and it's hard to see, but it's like, can you tell? It's kind of velvety. Would you call it velvety? It's a little fuzzy.
Yeah, it's fuzzy. It feels like fur, like Sherpa or something.
And you could use this as is. So like if you have the white sheet, you can die cut a snowman beard out of it. So you don't have to use a laminating or fuse machine to do that. But one of the things you can do, I find it works really well with Polyglaze. I just did an example here. This is the Polyglaze sheet. Here's the flock. The difference is this goes flock side down, right, Gina? Yeah, flock side down. So when we did the foiling earlier, you do the foil pretty side up. Here you're doing the pretty side down. And then I'm going to run it through. I don't know if I need to go. Do you think I need to go up to 5 for flock, Gina?
Yeah, I think I would try going up to 5.
Okay. I'll let that
I do want to show a technique too. While you're showing that, we'll do dual techniques. This is an older Thermoweb set called Bold Backdrops. And I'm only showing this because I know that there are lots of things on Thermoweb's website. If you're over there and you've already gone over there to see some of their other stuff, they have some stripe patterns. You just want to get something with a stripe pattern. And I'm going to cut this down. I'm just going to cut it down to like, I don't know, 2 inches by 2 inches. Okay, so I've got this little pattern here. And I want to show you a fun thing that you can do. So I'm going to use red and I'm going to use green. So I'm going to use Radiant Red, which is... No, I'm going to use Red Velvet, which is our plain red here.
Beautiful.
Should I use that, Jennifer? Or should I use the sparkly one? I should use this one? Because here's the sparkly one.
Oh, do the sparkle.
Okay.
Do the sparkle.
So I'll use Radiant. Jennifer and I are all about sparkle. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use glimmering green, which is, that's gold. Let me find glimmering green. I know I have it in here. Glittering green. So I'm going to use the red and the green. We're going to do something a little bit traditional here, okay? And I'm actually going to cut 2 of these. So I've cut 2 little pieces. And this would be fun for a little embellishment. Like, let's say you have a button die and you want to do some cute buttons, cutting them out of a button die. I saw that, I think Greg from Concord Ninth has a new set out of dies that has buttons. And this would be fun paper to cut those buttons out of. So I'm going to do one of these in red, and I'm going to do one of these in green.
You're so good at remembering to dust. I go all in.
Well,
I never stop to do that.
It's okay. So I'm going to cut down a piece of this foil. It's going to be a little bit bigger, but for saving a little bit of time here, I'm going to send this one through with the radiant red. And I'm going to send this one through with the glittering green. Oh my gosh, glittering green. Let me put this back here.
Some folks are asking, that link takes you to a thing called Link Deli. Just go ahead and click that Link Deli and you'll see come up a thumbnails of a bunch of products. It's the products we're talking about today. So you just click on whichever one you're interested in, and it'll take you to Gina's site. So yeah, it's a list. It's called a link list.
And don't forget to use Jennifer's special code, Jennifer15,
Jennifer15,
to get 15% off of any of the foil products that we're showcasing today. All right, so I'm putting one of each of these in here because I'm doing both at the same time. And that's something that you can do. You can do multiple pieces at one time like I'm doing.
Wonderful. Now, I'll send mine through too. Remember, I have a Polyglaze sheet. I have the flock transfer sheet, and it works just like the foil. You just put it pretty side down. I've turned mine up to 5. Let's see how this works. I've done it in the past, so it should work, but as you said,
it should work. But it's live, so you never know what's going to happen. It's live,
so we never know. We never know. And I'm on I took Gina. I had an allergy attack this morning. I texted you and told you, but man, yes. I took Benadryl, and does that stuff make me loopy? But I'm not sneezing.
So you're not sneezing, but you are having fun, right?
No fruit salad necessary for me.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
And yes, all the things we're showing today you can do with a mink. And a lot of the things we're showing you can do with a laminator. This one, because it's going up super hot, you just have to test with your laminator and see how it goes.
Right. Okay, so I've got, they just peeled right off. Look at that. I've got a red one and a green one. Look how pretty they are. And they just glimmer. So you could use these for different things in your card. Maybe you wanted to have like 2 little panels like that, and then you pop a little greeting over it. You could use these for whatever you want. But this is not why I did this. So I'm going to put these aside. I did this because I wanted these negative pieces, because I want to show you something really cute. Now, I have a piece of toner paper here that I'm going to cut down. Okay, so that it covers completely. Again, I'm going to dust everything because that's what I do. And I'm going to put that in this direction. And then I'm going to send that through the laminator to get the negative. So I'm going to have a black and white stripe pattern. And think about it. You could do a
black and red, right?
Black and red, yeah. But think about it. When the white Polyglaze comes out, you'll be able to do like a candy cane thing.
Yes. Oh, that will be so cute.
Jennifer, that's so cool.
Here's the flock. Somebody asked, yes, you put, for flocking, it's different. You put the pretty side down. Yes. And it tells you on the package to do that. But look at that. Yes. This is the Polyglaze. And somebody wanted me to demonstrate foiling over ink blending. Here I did flocking over ink blending.
Oh my gosh,
so it's the same, but
gorgeous.
Look at how you get that fuzzy
and that's
look.
So nice with the Polyglaze, because if it missed any little spot, there's no black showing.
Yes, totally.
Gorgeous.
So wow, I wish you could feel it.
Furry embossing folder.
Isn't that fun?
Oh, it's beautiful.
So you could go dark. You could go really dark in the background and then put the light flocking material. There's all types of colors and you can also use the negative here just for a background. Just glue it down.
And
Yeah,
I do
for, you
believe,
know,
Jennifer, I believe the plush paper works the same way.
okay, good.
Yes.
So here we
Okay, I
go.
just want to show this. So I
Ah,
peeled that off, right? Now,
yes.
what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just pull in a little bit of this green, but on the other side.
Oh,
So it's just going to be in between to make a little plaid. It's not going to be
okay.
bold, but it's going to be
Can you
just a
show it
tiny
again,
little bit.
how it's lined up? You got the stripes going in different
Yep.
directions?
Yep. And then I have
Oh,
these
this is
stripes
going to
going
be fun.
opposite way. And it's just going to put a little tiny touch of green in there. It's not going to be drastic because these stripes aren't thick. But if you have a thicker striped paper, it would be a lot more drastic. So look around and see what you have as far as different toner sheets from different companies. See what, down the line what Simon Says Stamp has, or, check out Thermoweb site. And, you're already going in there to look through Jennifer's link there. Look around and see some of their patterns too, because they are pretty amazing.
Yeah, they have a lot of, Thermoweb has a lot of toner printed things that you can foil with. It's just the same, it works the same as a Polyglaze. It's just black instead of
Yep.
the white to start with.
Right.
And do know that there are so many more ways to foil. So like you can use this product, this transfer gel, you can do this over a stencil and then foil that. That I'm not even going to dive into that today. That's a whole
No.
nother ball game. But know that there are multiple ways you can use these different foiling products. Okay.
And I'm going to just
so
do a
excited.
shameless plug, Jennifer. I'm just going to let them know that I do have a video on my channel called Decofoil Transfer Gel 5 Ways. So it shows you even
perfect.
how to use your stamps with Decofoil Transfer Gel and foil. So it's a great way to stamp. You get a little bit more of a vintage textured look, but it's really
Perfect.
beautiful. All right, I'm
That's
going to
great.
peel this. Now check that out, okay? Can you see that? I'm going to zoom in really close here.
Let me see.
I think I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Isn't that fun? So you
That's
get like
going to
a
look
little,
even better with white when it's
right?
Polyglaze.
It's going to
Yep.
look really cool. And then I happen to have a button die here from our Master Layouts 4 set. This has got a few buttons. They're not big
Nice.
like Greg's, so if you want bigger ones, get Greg's. But I'm going to cut one of these out and show you how cute the little plaid button looks. That you could just attach that as an embellishment next to your greeting, just for that little vintage. Oh my gosh, how close am I here? And I've lost my. Here it is. I gotta go down. Sorry, Jennifer.
No, you're fine.
If it was my face, you'd be able to count my nose hairs.
Sweet. I've been wanting to do that.
Yeah.
Been wanting to do that.
On your bucket list.
It's on my bucket list. Oh
Okay.
dear.
Oh my gosh. They shouldn't let us be on the same video together.
Yeah. So while you're die cutting, I also wanted to mention that something I discovered that also works great with the negative pieces. These are pre-printed pieces from Simon Says Stamp. They're called Color Blend. And see how it looks
Ooh.
like the blending's already done for you? This is like the holiday assortment, but they also have some bright colors and such. I have them linked on that list. But I found that you can use the negative space on these. So
That's beautiful.
I'm going to take this negative space and use it. Oh, my machine shut off because I've had it on too long. I've been using it all morning.
I'm gonna show this while you're showing that, just so that they can see
Oh,
how
look at
cute.
that button.
I might be blurry. I might be way too close here. So
Oh.
let's see how that looks.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that
Look at
fun?
that.
A little plaid button.
Okay,
Oh,
so
it's
here I'm going to use this leftover piece. Remember where we did the two colors? This is just the silver leftover. I'm going to put it onto that Color Blend pre-printed paper, color paper from Simon Says Stamp, and send that through. Yeah, the color blends are beautiful. There's a lot of great colors on it, and it makes it so much easier than ink blending that. That would take me a lot of work.
Well, and I don't think that it would work either, because their color blend papers are probably toner, and
Oh,
it's
sure,
gonna grab that beautifully.
Yeah.
So what a cool product! I gotta get some of that. You have a link?
It's in that list.
It better
They're
be.
fantastic. I actually just bought more of them this morning because I liked them so much.
Okay, and then I want to show one more thing here while you're while that's running
Okay.
through. But look at the negative piece of that.
Ah,
So you could put that on white or you could put that on black, and then you have a really cool little diamond pattern that isn't a plaid that you could make coordinating buttons or die cuts or whatever you'd want to do with that. Little borders, whatever.
wonderful. Wonderful. All right, here we go.
All right, let's
Look
see
at
it.
this. Oh, I didn't
Uh,
have, remember how my machine turned off?
yeah, it wasn't hot enough.
Timed out. So it wasn't hot enough, but if it would have been warmed up, look at. So you can see the color through it.
And the
I
reason
did-
why the bottom
before.
grabbed is because the bottom took all the heat. And
Yeah.
then the rest of the roller all the way in the center probably wasn't hot enough and there wasn't enough heat. But if it heated up for a little bit longer, that
It
is
would transfer beautifully.
spectacular. Oh, I love that.
So then
That
you can have the color
glows.
behind it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So note to
That is
self,
gorgeous.
be sure to allow
sure your
it to heat up
laminator doesn't go
completely.
off.
Yep. Gosh, my brother's telling me I'm a dimwit over here.
You are not. That's a great thing. I mean, I want to go over there right now and get all of those color blends now because, you know, you can't have enough foiling things.
They
that's
are
for
fun.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Very fun. What did I do? Okay, and the red one's completely gone. That's weird.
Man.
Oh yeah, because I see what happened there. But yeah, this is so much fun. Jennifer, what do you think? I mean, foil.
We got lots of ideas here, right?
I think so.
I think we threw a lot of ideas at them. I have.
I
All
think
these
we
little
did too.
samples, too.
I know, and I lost half of my samples here, my words and everything else that were over here. I kept grabbing things here. I have my cards. I'm going to just back out a little bit like you so that I can show some of the things that we talked about.
There's that.
I think, honestly, today, this is probably my favorite new color combination that I tried is the pink and the gold. This is probably my favorite.
So beautiful. Beautiful. Wonderful.
Loving that.
And I know we got a lot of questions. We tried to answer as many as we can. But what I do encourage you is I will add, after the live is over, I will add links to some of Gina's videos that could be helpful and some of mine, just to make sure that you can look deeper on some of these techniques. But also know you can go back and rewatch this because we got a little excited and tried a million things here, didn't we?
We did, but you know what? That's fun because it's fun
Yep.
to see a million things and you know that this video is going to live on YouTube forever as a reference, but it's
Yep.
fun to have one video that has so many things in it. And it really gets your creativity started, you know?
Yep.
Even if you don't know what to make, if you just want to sit and try a bunch of these techniques and make these different kinds of backgrounds, you can always go back to them later and turn this into a card or turn what Jennifer did with the blue and the circle, you know, or have a bunch of letters cut out. Even if you don't have a project in mind, sometimes it's fun and it's really good for your mental health to just sit and play without a purpose.
For sure. For sure. So somebody asked about the fuse. Can it be used as a regular laminator? Yes, it can. I actually did a video all on 5 reasons why I recommend having a tool like this in your craft room. And I think only one is foiling. So in that video, I talk about how I use this as a laminator to make the dividers for my stamp storage and stuff. So this can be used as a laminator. And if you have a laminator, you can also try all these things with that.
Yeah, another thing I love using laminator or the fuse for is even during the holidays when you make cookies. I do cookie exchanges with people or I make cookies. Sometimes it's nice just to have a recipe card with the cookies
Yes.
when you give it to somebody and you can laminate that card for them. So when they're making the recipe, it stays nice and clean. They can just wipe it off. So things like that.
We have all of our recipes laminated because it makes a big difference when you're messy like me.
And it's a good gift to give to your kids, especially your adult kids who are trying to figure out, they're learning to cook and stuff. It makes a nice little Christmas
100%.
gift. Yeah.
100%. Well, I know there are more questions. If you have a question that you missed, because I know Gina's got 1,000,001 things to do, but if there's a question that we missed, leave it as a comment on this video and I will come and answer them there. So just pretend this was a regular video, you know how you can leave comments below, leave it there and I'll make sure that I address some of those. Hopefully we touched on almost all of the questions that were asked. It's a
And
lot.
like you said, Jennifer, we both have so many foiling videos
Yes.
of all kinds of ways to use foil.
Yep.
I know I have a whole playlist on my channel, and you have videos dating back years as well. So if you
Yep.
can't find it in this video and you want to, any one of these individual techniques you want to dive deeper, check Jennifer's channel, type in foil, Jennifer McGuire, or foil, Gina K, and you will find so many videos, so many resources.
And I will make sure to add your playlist and then a few of my other videos in the description. I'll just need a moment to crash, and then I'll get to it.
Yeah, Jennifer,
I
you
don't know
did
how
some
you do
amazing
this, Gina.
things. Well, you were amazing, and you did some amazing techniques and things that I really enjoyed seeing, like the flock and cutting that circle out. So many very interesting things that I haven't done on my channel. So anybody that's joining that usually watches me probably just learned a whole bunch of new stuff. So that was super fun.
Well, I think it's fun to see who designed the product create with it, but then it's fun to see somebody who's got like a fresh eyes on the product create with it. So that's what's fun about this, is that you're the expert on it, and I'm just sharing the things that I tried that happened to work.
Yeah, well,
I don't share the things that don't work.
That's all right. Yeah. So many things you try work that's video after video. Jennifer, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And remember that Gina was so kind to give you all that discount code. It'll be in the description. It's good on Gina's website only for the Polyglaze foil and foil accessories. And it's good through Friday at midnight. So I appreciate you doing that so much.
Oh gosh, my pleasure. And thank you for having me on and letting me play with something that I'm so passionate about.
Yes. Well, once the Polyglaze full sheets come out, we got to do this again.
We should. We definitely will. We got to do it again no matter what.
Yes. So thank you very much. And if you have possibly been living under a rock and don't follow Gina on YouTube, I have her already linked below in the description, so you can go over and subscribe to her. And thank you, Tom, too. Tom is in the dark space. Is that what's called? Dark space?
The dead space.
Dead space. Dark, dead. Whatever.
He's
so
back
thank
there.
you, Tom, too. And Mike is here.
Too. Yes.
Mike's here just pointing out when I do things that aren't
calling you names.
Yeah.
A good
there
brother.
he is.
Hey, Mike.
Well, thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. And again, this will be available for replay. So if you want to watch back and take notes of the many techniques, you can definitely do that. So thank you, Gina. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you. You guys all have a great rest of your week.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you for watching.
See you again soon.